Hey, everyone. Hi. Yeah, I don't use my YouTube a whole lot, like, for anything at all. But, I really wanted to do this video because, a lot of you from my Tumblr and my DeviantArt have been reading my comics lately. And you've probably noticed that there hasn't been a whole lot of updates, like, for the main story for the past probably 4 months or so. There is a very big reason for that. And they're sitting right in front of me, and I really want to show them off. So, let me just go ahead and do this. I didn't organize them before I started the video. I don't know, that was pretty dumb. Ta-da! This is why main story Momma CQ has not updated very regularly for the past while. So those of you who were with me, like, from the very beginning, that you guys know this. My comics used to be nothing but sketches. And the first 161 actual comic squares were done, like, hold on, I got it in the back of book one. I got it very good. We're done like this. Done like that. So the first 161 pages like that, and then I was, gathering something of a following, and people really liked the comic, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, and I was like, oh, people actually want to read this, it's just, very flattering. I used to do webcomics in high school, or I would try, and I did an uploaded series when I was about 12 years old, and I did comics, but this is the first time anybody is like, came to me and was like, hey, I really love your story. And I'm like, aw, that's so sweet. So, people expressed interest in doing physical books, but I didn't want to print sketches. So, for the past 4 months, I've been spending all my time going back and, redoing the first 161 pages of Momma CQ. I did start doing colored pages on regular updates after a while. Starting with part 3, actually. The last 2 pages of part 2 and the rest of part 3 was all colored from the start. But I had to go back and do the others. So I did all of that with the help of my very good friend, Little Noko. She did flat colors for me. I did all of the line art, all of the edits and changes to the comics, and I did all of the final coloring, like the highlights, anything that I had written or had a line to it, I did. But she did cut out about 20 minutes per comic of my time to help. I did all the backgrounds too. But I did all that in about 4 months. And then I went and I spent about a week, probably total, editing all these books together for you guys. Part 1, I actually got a couple months ago. I've had it for about 6 weeks. I did it first to see what the publishing was like, to kind of see what I was getting into before I went ahead and did the rest of it. So I've had it for a while, and I actually have these, like, in batches. I have, like, 30 copies downstairs that are, for sale and everything, and you can buy the books on my website, which I will put a link in the description, but it's, Loading Crew Crafts is my business and my company and my website. So, that is a thing. But there's the first book. I wanted to kind of show these off and show you guys what you're going to be getting. The first book is smaller. They're all the same price. I wanted to keep the prices uniform because I do a deal. I do a 3 sorry. They're cheaper if you buy 3 of them. I decided on a price point of $25 per book, no matter the book, but you can get 3 for $60. Any 3 of these. But I did want to show you these off to you guys. This is why I really wanted to do the video. I wanted to show you, like, what had been going on during my lesser update times when I've only been doing 1 page, or, oh, she's doing another mini comic. Why is that? Well, because there was mini comics I wanted for the books because I wanted more content for the books themselves, and the mini comics are they're important to me because they're interactions that I wanted to show that didn't necessarily fit into the story, but I wanted them to be there. Okay, but yeah, I'm going to show these to you guys. So, like, the first book is a little bit smaller, and there's the cover. I'll show that off first. And here's the back cover. Little ink hiding. And it opens up. I did a little some special portraits just for the book, and I had to reformat all of the chapter, kind of like my chapter covers for the book pages, because they don't quite fit, so that was a little tricky, but the pages themselves kind of look like this. So there's all the new colored pages, and then I had some artwork. I realized that my comics were very small, so I had some artwork put down the middle too that is made just for the book. These are not pictures that are online anywhere, and so they're like little, and because I didn't want it to be just white space. I knew that the comics were just they're squares. They're I draw them as 4x4 inch squares is in 600 dpi or something like that. And so I knew that they wouldn't format to like a page in a proper way. So I had to get a little creative with how I was setting them up. And I did little comment notes on the bottom of every page, and they're all unique and individual comments that are either related to the story, related to like my comic process, or just jokes. But it was really fun to like put in my own comments like on everything that was going on, and it was a lot of fun to fill out. But I did it for all three of us. And I did it for everything. So the comments are in like all the books. But that is the all of part 1 in the first comic, and there's not any extra content in the first one. I didn't have anything because I didn't think I wanted to do it at first, but I had already done this side comic for ink by the time that I had published this first book, so I was like, well, but I really want to do some extra stuff. So that's why, moving on to volume 2, which there's one little edit that needs to be fixed in volume 2. These are just approved copies, by the way, of 2, 3, and Assie's story. I just got these in, and I was very excited to show them off to you guys. So this is the cover for part 2. And the back. I wanted this one to be like happy and like super happy. And again, I went ahead and kept in the theme of having like artwork just for the book. And this one's all about ink. There's a lot of ink in part 2. If you guys, those of you who've read the comic know, there's a lot of ink in part 2. So this one was the daycare arc. It started off on a little daycare arc because they were younger and it was supposed to be like what the family acted like before, versus like what the current actual situation is that they're dealing with in part 1. That'll move on to part 3. So that's why part 2 kind of happened. And I had to be kind of creative with this one too, because there was a couple updates, like the thank you picture that I had already colored in my old artwork, and I released them as like a special update, or as something just, extra. But there's plenty there, and this one does have the mini comics in it. So that's the end of part 2 there, and then I have my end thank you commentary, and then it goes into Kid Ink's short story. And there's actually, I think there's 2 mini comics in this one. And then I have a rainbow page I put in a rainbow page just to like break up the 2 mini comics so people didn't think that it went right into the other. Because this one's about Ink and Air meeting for the first time. So there's 2 mini comics in that one. And then I actually, there was lovely fan artists who did some fan comics that I actually consider canon. These are done by the Grinning Kitten, and you can find her on Tumblr and DeviantArt. And I highly suggest you check out her one-shot comics. She does one-shots almost exclusively. So, like, everything she does is just, oh, hey, I want to have this little idea, I'm going to get it out there. And they're really super cute, and I highly suggest you look at her content. She's very good at depicting details that I will say that some people tend to miss sometimes. So it's always interesting to see, somebody else picking up something on, hey, I want to do a little thing about this, because I noticed that you did this, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So I got her permission to print these in the back of the book as bonus content for you guys. And so there's 2 of hers, series of hers, and I have a couple from another lovely artist, Ava Robinson, who keeps throwing adorable ideas at me, and these are comics I would consider they could be canon events, which is why I wanted to ask permission to have them. So they have given their blessings to have these in the books, and I'm very happy to be able to share them with you all in the physical copies. And of course, I have a big thank you to the people who have contributed to the Momma CQ project, of obviously CQ and Mie, first and foremost. They were the ones I approached first when I first started writing. CQ especially for writing fresh. She's become one of my best friends. Honestly, I love her to death. We do conventions together now, and she's a blast to hang around, and I adore her a lot. She's seriously, CQ is more than an inspiration. She's, how to describe CQ knowing her personality. that is part of the problem here. Like, I just am really happy that I was able to, like, make this, and, you know, be able to portray, especially fresh. I have a very big love of fresh, and people know that, because they know what I do, what I make, and one of the reasons why I actually wanted to write this was because I was kind of, like, you know, disheartened by some of the portrayals. Nuts! Like, there's a lot of fun stuff out there. There's a lot of really good, fun content out there, but you know, I love fresh. So I wanted to write fresh. I wanted to write Gino. I wanted to, you know, write these characters. They're there's something unique and inspirational about them, and that's what I loved about them. Same thing with Ink, but I will be completely honest, I legit don't feel like I've brought enough justice to Ink as I have the CQ boys. That's one of the reasons why I actually did the Ink backstory, because I really, really wanted to do something that was closer to what I thought true Ink was really like. And, yeah, but that's kind of the idea. That's what I wanted to say that. Here's book 3, so you can see the cover of that one in the back. There's new characters in part 3, as some of you are already aware of, so I wanted to show off, like, that's what it was about, but I didn't want to leave the boys completely out, so I gave them each one their, you know, on the back. Very simple back designs. This one turned out a little bit thicker than the others. Yeah, a little bit. So, I think this one was almost 90 pages of comics, and there's less bonus content than just part 3 in this one, and if you want to see the spine artwork. I honestly think that the middle artwork is better in the third book. I might go with something more like this from here on out, because I like the way it turned out. This artwork here is more of an experiment. And like I said, I just really don't like the white space being left there alone, and I think that's a lot better. Let's see here, the front. You get to see all the lovely portraits of the new characters and the cover art, and then I believe this one had, yeah, okay, so this one actually had the Assy illustrations in the front of it too. And I think I didn't show the first one, but the first one was, book 1 was special illustrations of the boys. There you go. But there. So, and then on the back here, I have another, it was mostly just the Fresh and Decky mini comic that was in the back of this one. And then one little Fresh comic, again, done by the Grinning Kitten. Thank you very much, dear. I love this little comic. It's just an experimental hug Fresh comic. That's absolutely great. I think it's the only one that actually made it into this book. And then I have my thank you to my 3 friends. So, the 3 characters each belong to Sugar, or Lana. Sugar belongs to Lana. Assy belongs to my friend Fergamance, and Decky, of course, belongs to my friend at Little Noko. And they all, you know, I work with them all personally. They're all personal friends of mine, and they've given me information to help write the characters, and I've role-played with them, done back-and-forth interactions to get a good handle on how they would interact with the boys, and things like that. So, I mean, I'm very excited to be able to write these guys, especially, I have to say, Assy especially is one of my favorites of all time. And I'm not, you know, she does her classic AU from, you know, whatever. But you know, Momma CQ is written more of as a tribute to the characters that were kind of created because of an inspiration piece. It's more of a tribute to just creativity in general. I mean, a lot of people, like, you know, they try to, they ask, I get a lot of Undertale related questions when it comes to writing this fan comic. But it's not a timeline, like, at all. I've built the universe from scratch. It plays by different rules. The souls have different rules. I've done all kinds of medical magic sciences that pertain to Geno and Decan especially. Decky? Actually, Decky. But, you know, and I get a lot of people that read it as an original piece, and they're like, oh, this is really cool and interesting, and then they're surprised to find out that it's a fan piece. And that's really special to me, and I really, really appreciate that. So, you know, but it's not like a timeline. I consider it a skeleton fandom tribute, is what I really do. Is what I really like to think of it as. And I get a lot of people that say that's more than accurate. So, especially with Fresh Air, ink and sugar all now being, you know, taken away from their AU universes to be put into original content, with redesigns and the whole shebang. So, I mean, yeah, that's, just wanted to say that real quick. The last book I have here, so I've got the first 3 volumes, all printed. Part 4 is finally going to start updating regularly. Tomorrow, actually, or at the time of this recording. It's Tuesday, the 5th of September, right now. So tomorrow's Wednesday, that's when I usually update, so I'll be going back into 1-page updates for the rest of the week, and then finally get back into 2-page updates for next week, from here on out. So there won't be any more interruptions or delays, because I did a year's worth of comics in, like, 4 months. Is what I really did. That 161 pages of binding and coloring, yeah, that was like a year's worth of comics, like, back when it... Okay. But there's a 4th book among the first 3 volumes. So, some of you know I wrote a backstory for Uncle Lassie. It was kind of like a way of me, putting... a way for me to update, sort of, and I've talked to Ferg about all this, Assie's issues, because he deals with a lot of mental health issues, and I know how serious that topic can be, and I wanted to take it seriously. I wanted it to be something that clearly showed the trials that Assie had gone through and, you know, got over to be this inspirational person that he is, that he's, you know, he's positive, he's happy, he's gone through crap, and, you know, he was considered a lost cause until his friends, you know, he actually gained friends and they didn't give up on him, and that was the point. You know, it's not that, you know, you're so far, you know, hurt or damaged that you can't do anything. It's that you're just a person who needs some help. That is so important to me, because it's personal. I don't want to get into it, but there's a reason I respect this character so much, even though, like, the classic version doesn't have, like, his own story finished yet. And I think that's fine. So I really, really wanted to do it. So, I wrote his backstory a long time ago. And, it got a lot of positive feedback, which, you know, made me thrilled. But I wanted to put it in book 3 as one of the bonus content, which is why there's only 1 mini comic in book 3. Problem is, I started editing it. I didn't realize it was over 12,000 words because I wrote it in 4 hours. I just sat down and wrote it one evening because I wanted to. So I didn't realize how big it was until I sat down and started, like, editing the pages together. And I was like, okay, guys, so it's not going to fit in book 3, or book 3 is going to be hell of expensive because printing, the more pages you have. The text in this ended up being about 50 pages in text. And I was like, alright, so do I make book 3 really, really big, or do I have it its own separate book? And I put it to a vote online. I asked, you know, a lot of my Tumblr people, and TV people didn't really, there's not a whole lot there, so I stuck to Tumblr, but I did get a lot of feedback on Tumblr. So they all opted to go ahead and have me print it as its own book. So I did. Here's the back of it. Because even though it is kind of a, you know, a written story and not a comic, it is canon to the main story, and it has been up and around as content for the MCQ series for a long time, and I wanted to be able to share it. And the thing is Ferg, I talked to Ferg about it, just to make sure it was all okay and everything, and she was more than enthusiastic about it, because she's gonna get copies of this, you can bet. I mean, I know she's all the way in Hungary, but yeah, I think it's worth it, because she's worth it. But, she, got all excited, and she actually did 15 completely original illustrations from the story, just to be printed in the book. And these are all done by Fergamant, and she did a really good job. She designed the Goat Doctor, Metazoan. She designed the pillow that in story Star gives to Assy, and this is just so cute. And I love how they all turned out. They look really good in print. And just as a little bonus, I went ahead and added, it's a reuse of the illustration from book 3, but I did want to tie it into the part 3 schematic somehow, because it did have, so this one's mine, but that is why Assy's backstory got its own book, because it turned out really, really long. And there, that is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to show them to you guys, show you what they look like, show you what, they are, what I've been doing for the past 4 months, because my activity's been low, because I've been in editing and, relining hell, just trying to get this stuff done, and, I still do conventions full time. That's still my main source of income, my Patreon. I think, you can check out my Patreon if you so desire. I don't make a ton, and it's not my main content. I still have to do commissions to help pay the bills, monthly bills and everything, and I still do 10 to 12 conventions a year with craft work as well. So I'm a plusher. I do plushies. Plush maker, craftsman, however you want to say it. But that's, what I actually normally do all the time. So this is still just a side thing, but you guys have blown me away with the support from LMSTQ, and I love writing these boys. I love writing this story. There's just something about brotherly and family stories that I really adore. Alright, I have probably ranted your ear off at this point, but that's what's going on. You can, like I said, book 1 is readily available, as it is. Books 2, 3, and Assy's backstory are available for pre-order on my website. And like I said, I'll leave a link in the description, but it is Loading Crew Crafts. And, they should be in the next few weeks. I have to go through. I have to make sure that these are completely fine for printing. These were the proofs, as I said. I did see one little edit I need to make in volume 2, but it shouldn't be a big deal. So I should have, as soon as these get shipped to me in their batches, I will send them out as soon as possible, but they are available for pre-order. And the more pre-orders I get, that kind of tells me, like, what the online demand is going to be, too. So I know how many books to get. And that's really why part of the reason why I wanted to do this video and show you guys exactly what has been going on. So, oops, sorry about that. But I should, go ahead and let you go. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much, guys. I hope to see you around. Check out my Patreon and stuff. And like I said, I don't do a lot on YouTube, but, yep. Thank you.